Going backwards.
I felt like we were on like 600. We're on 280.
We're on 280. Well, he doesn't count the debates.
280 weeks.
If you count the debate,
I guess that's a lot of weeks.
quite a bit of weeks.
It's a lot of weeks.
It's only
That's
52 in a
like,
year.
let's see,
Yeah.
Divided by 52. That's like 4 years. I did it all in my head.
It's way too much.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Friends podcast. I'm Mikey. That's John. There's Scott. And today we have Mr. Hollywood Hurd with us. What's up, brother?
Hey, man, it's great to be here on the air with you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, man. It's always fun to see you. It's been a while. It's been too long, I'll say.
I haven't seen you in 3 years.
3 years, probably. It was the last time you were hanging out.
Episode 80.
Let me see. 80 divided by 52.
Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah, dude. Well, thank you for swinging by, man.
Thanks for inviting me.
I know you guys just wrapped Office Joe,
Yep.
and I'm super excited to talk to you about
Looking
it.
forward to
man.
talking to you about it, man.
Yeah, let's.
We got some other stuff we got to talk about.
We have a few things to talk about, man. Yeah, it's been a wild week. Guys, it wouldn't be the Freedom Friends if we didn't talk about our number one sponsor, Warfighter Tobacco. Obviously, you guys have seen us all smoke them. We're here to talk about a quality product that everybody can enjoy. The great equalizer, as we've called it, the Warfighter Tobacco Stick. And it's not just cigars. They've got humidors, travel humidors, cutters, lighters, everything you need to get started on that journey. Check out warfightertobacco.com and use that code FTFO. Score yourself that sweet, sweet 15%. If you want to know my personal favorite, I'm a 762 Field guy. I like that Sumatra, real nice and even keeled cigar. Great for us beginner smokers, right? And I'm told that these taste even better when you're listening to the Freedom Friends podcast. Now, back to the show. This episode is brought to you by Grill Your Ass Off. It's no secret. We're all middle-aged dudes who love barbecue. Grill Your Ass Off is our main go-to for our spices. That's what we use, man. Whether you're doing burgers on the grill, steaks, or my personal favorite, a little bit of pork belly burn ends, right? They've got you covered on all of that. They also have salsas. They also have seasonings and spices. They got beer salts. They've got everything, man. Check them out. GrillYourAssOff.com/Freedom Friends Podcast, or use the code Freedom Friends Podcast at checkout.
I saw in the Freedom Friends group that there's some bad news.
Yeah.
You guys call it bad news.
Well, but I don't
calls it
know.
accuracy.
So what happened?
So it started with someone asked about our good friend Jazz, and Bradley Freeman, who fucking nailed it, was like, "Oh, he died," and basically said that he died. And yeah,
Sorry, boys. I really had to pee.
dude,
That was
that had to be an epic pee, dude.
So
That's a 6-month pee.
usually it's often. That one was long.
Yeah.
well, it's the first time I've ever been called that.
Hey, I'm over 60, so I know all about often.
He was hydrated, man.
Yeah, I mean he peed for like 6 months.
I don't know if you guys remember, but the last episode Jazz was on, we were shit-faced.
I don't remember actually.
Hello, boys.
Hi, buddy. Welcome
buddy.
back.
Hey.
Welcome back, man.
And I get to come back and hang out with Hollywood, which
Hey, bro.
I don't think I've seen you
I haven't
since
seen you.
episode 80.
I know, right?
No. Yeah.
So we're gonna put it out here. Jazz, are you just guest appearing?
Unless Hollywood decides he wants my seat, I think I might be back for the long haul.
You're back for
You know,
good?
I am a Texan.
Permanently?
I do love Texas, but I'm not going to be here every week. I'm sorry.
Well, then, there you go. Yes. Much to your chagrin, my guy.
I mean,
Well,
awesome.
I'm
Chagrin, that's a pretty big word for a soldier.
That's why we needed him back.
Yeah.
We don't know words bigger than 6
Small
letters.
dick, big words.
So
Yeah.
over here we have infantry guys. Jazz was psyops,
Mm-hmm.
so it explains a lot.
That's why he's been gone, because he was doing
He's just,
science.
he's been
He
psyop.
was.
Yeah.
He was faking suicides and shit.
Thank
Well,
you,
the election
sir.
didn't go the way we wanted, so we had to go.
So now he's back. He's a goddamn.
I had to
He was
fall-
trying to topple
I had to do the fallback.
He's our voice of reason.
He was
Yeah.
toppling regimes, and it turned out it kind of toppled itself. So he was like,
Yeah.
I guess I can come back.
No, you know,
Work here is done.
you guys kind of covered it after I was gone. Life got exciting
Well, you expanded your
for a
business,
minute. I expanded the business.
and you were busy as shit. And you
so-
were just, bro, this is too much.
It was. I mean, everything went. Like I wasn't on the Freedom Friends, Warhammered, which was doing well. I had to shut it down for the 6 months and stuff. So like, I just published the first episode of the comeback of that one. So
Nice.
What's it
that's
called?
back. It's called Warhammered.
Warhammered?
It's a nerd podcast. You wouldn't like it.
You might.
It's
You forget what branch of the military I was in.
Oh, you were civilian. I forgot
No, I
about
was in
that.
the Air Force, which is the
That's
nerd
the
branch.
same thing.
Okay, you're right.
No, we talk about like
Shared enough lumbar support for you, Hollywood.
That's
Is
right.
that-
we talk about
I checked before I sat down here.
My man, my man.
no, we talk about like Warhammer and D&D and
Right.
And-
It's cool.
all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I shut that down. Like everything was,
Yeah.
all my hobbies went by the wayside.
Yeah.
So it was just all work all the time. I would,
I mean, big boy rules, dude. You gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta buckle down and focus on the real deal and real life, and that's how it rolls.
the real deal is money. Like that's what it
Yeah.
came down to.
Yeah,
and
what's that like?
and I had
no
I
idea.
had goals. Competition presented itself. And,
Goals?
and I
It's adult stuff.
it is.
It's
Competition presented itself, and I decided, if you're gonna compete, then fucking jersey up and fucking do what you need to do. So
That being said, I'm going to take a 6-month break. Fuck this guy.
And instead of Scott on the microphone, he's going to be sitting right there drinking.
which I
Yeah.
did a couple of times.
This-
Just nothing was ever said. There was
This is my office.
You're practically living in a van down by the river, Scott.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Life goals.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I saw all the boys while I was gone. Like I'd come by and smoke cigars and drink
Sure.
and all that kind of stuff. But it was
I've
just
been by your shop a few times.
yeah, you've come by.
Yeah.
Like I came by here and saw the boys and stuff like that. So it wasn't but contrary to what Facebook will tell you, I'm not dead.
But shout out Bradley Freeman. That was fucking funny.
Okay. So it was funny right up until my wife started getting messages.
No. Yes.
So my wife started getting messages going,
Sorry for
Dude's
your
trying
loss.
to slide the DMs.
no,
Are you busy
Oh,
tonight?
Fucking Jody's, dude.
that'd have been better. That'd have been better. No, actually, so my wife started getting messages from people she'd never heard of that were like, hey, I used to bike with your husband. My condolences. I am so sorry.
Are
Like,
you free Saturday?
Yeah. And so all these messages from people. So she's like walking to the bedroom going like, who is insert name here? And I was like, oh yeah, I used to do whatever.
I haven't
These
talked to that guy in like 20 years.
people that like, follow the show and were following the comments and stuff and saw that and were like, oh my God.
Well, one dude tagged you,
Yeah.
and Bradley didn't skip a beat and just replied, "Oh, he died."
Yeah. Well, because of that comment, yeah, people started sending condolence messages to my wife.
Well, what's funny is the comment read that he died and we had
But
him
then I've been-
taxidermied and
Yeah.
set up in Warfighter to hand out free samples. Like it was
I'm
obviously,
not against that.
Yeah.
at all. Like,
obviously a joke.
great.
Yeah. So evidently
You know
it
some
didn't-
good taxidermists.
I know. We can make this happen.
it evidently didn't get read all the way through. So yeah, my wife started getting condolence messages about the fact that I was dead. And so,
Fuck.
but because I got tagged directly in it, I saw the whole message and I went in there. I was like, I can assure you, I am not dead. So,
I screenshotted it and sent it to Justin. I was like, we're talking about this, right? Like, this is-
so I'm not dead. I am still around, and I am mostly back just to see if I can piss Scott off about it. Like that's
Oh,
the,
fuck that.
Mission accomplished.
I'm in the wrong seat then. If that's gonna happen.
No, you're in the
You're
right
in the
seat.
right seat. You're gonna have a goof. We're gonna
Yeah.
have a fun episode.
That's you have ringside tickets right now.
That's why you're there.
So Hollywood,
We need a buffer.
tell us about Office Joe, man.
So about a year ago, we shot on a TV show called Office Joe.
Yep.
It's about an infantryman that leaves the army and goes to work at a boutique marketing firm in North Carolina.
Hmm.
And it shows what it's like to transition from the military.
So it's a shit show.
It's a shit show.
Got it.
Can we show that opening scene? Is that possible?
Yes. The only we don't have audio for everybody though. That's the only downside. I can link it in the description.
He's heard it, man. We can listen.
I
Yeah.
don't need to hear it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Let me
I
throw
could
this
probably
up
do
real
it
quick.
from memory.
He's
There
heard
we
the
go.
shit.
Let me see.
Let's see this.
Yeah, how many times have you heard
Oh,
that?
dude.
So-
the opening
Literally,
scene?
I've seen this 1,000 times.
I was down in Florida, and a friend of mine called Nick Palmshano.
Yep.
And
He wrote it and directed it.
she handed the phone to me, and I congratulated him. This was right after you guys wrapped,
That's
and I
cool.
talked. So this was in end of October. I was talking to him
Yeah.
about it, and I was just like, "Congrats, man!" And yeah. So I'm really excited for you guys, man. This is awesome.
Glorious day to be alive, Sergeant. My name's Staff Sergeant Hauser, and I'm here to pick up my DD-214 and become a civilian.
Okay, Staff Sergeant, I'll just need a copy of your orders.
I only have this one.
I can't give you your DD-214 without a copy of your orders.
Can I use your copier?
That copier is only for civilian use.
Well, the second you give me that DD-214, I am a civilian.
Correct.
So then I could use it.
Agreed.
So can I just use it now?
I'm afraid until you have your DD-214, you're still a member of the armed forces and thus cannot use that copier.
This is very military.
Okay. I just want to be super clear here. You're not giving me my DD-214, allowing me to become a civilian because I don't have an extra copy of my orders. But you're not going to let me make an extra copy of my orders because I'm not a civilian. And the fact that I've deployed 4 times and left blood, sweat, tears, and literal chunks of my own flesh in the sand of Iraq and the rocks of Afghanistan will not in any way sway you. Just this once. To break this nonsensical rule so I can leave the Army with a tiny ounce of positivity after getting fucked by the Green Weenie for over a decade. Is that what you're telling me?
And he's at Kinko's.
100%.
Copy of my orders. Happy now? So I'm a civilian.
Yes.
$999 copies of him flipping the bird.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
Those,
could
na-
tell- you could
those
tell
nails
this-
were not right.
So Nick Palmachano,
You could tell this was written by Nick.
that's right, right? He wanted to do a show, about getting out of the military.
Sure.
And as you all know, every show you see on television, every movie, veteran is either some superhero guy with 16 M16s, MP4s, saving the world, or so traumatically damaged that he can't even function with society.
Sure.
And so Nick came up with the idea to do this show, and he wrote the episodes, and Dan, who plays the lead, who plays Joe, we did corrections and we did additions and gave him different ideas for what he'd written, and we came up with the show because he wanted to address what it's like to get out of the military. But he wanted to do a show that not only would be interesting to veterans, but would be interesting to civilians as well.
Not to drive home the fact that you were Air Force, but those would be MP5s.
Look, I admit I don't know anything about this because if I had the Army, I would have noticed that Joe didn't have a deployment tab, which has been pointed out 375,000
Oh, a patch,
times.
yeah.
He's got no combat patch.
But he has a
it was
CIB.
woke.
That's
It was-
right.
It was woke, though. They took away combat patches for a while because it was making the other people feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
That's
in-
exact. That's probably
No.
true. So
Well, there's no way that
I think that was a thing.
Cuban manicure that
Yeah, that was
That
not
42
right.
Alpha.
670-1 did not cover those.
You guys have all heard me say this bit plenty of times, but literally, and it's an unfortunate truth. The military spends hundreds of thousands of dollars teaching us how to do our job, probably more in some cases, right? And then it's like $50 kicking you out the fucking door.
if that, it's
they
like,
don't give a fuck.
and people don't
Like,
understand that. It's
oh,
like
you're not viable anymore.
you've been in the
No, no,
military
no.
for 10 years. We've been in the military for 10 years. See ya. Here's 3 classes taught by Army people, or Air Force people
Who have
that don't
no
know anything,
fucking
no
clue.
fucking
Yeah.
clue.
Mikey, you said
about
it
the
wrong.
civilian world.
It costs you, the service member, $50 to
Right.
get out of the military.
People look at this and
You
they
gotta,
think,
you gotta go to Kinko.
Yeah.
people think that's ludicrous. There's no way that would really happen. But that's the truth.
That's so fucking accurate.
Yeah.
Right?
That opening scene is super accurate.
Well, how many people at this table had star card debt when they got out of the military?
The day I got in and the day I got out.
Dude,
Didn't matter what my payments were either. I still had a balance on that.
You know-
star
you know,
card.
I found out
I
that-
my
Wow.
star card one time. I bought a fucking Marine NCO sword. That's the only thing
When-
I ever bought. Is I bought my NCO sword with it.
So I paid mine off when I got out because I thought it was like part of clearing. Like I
Right.
thought you only had a star card when you were active duty. So when I got out, I went to buy a laptop and AFES just started their website. And so I got on AFES website and they had the laptop and it was a crazy deal, tax free, the whole 9. And then when I went to check out, it was like, do you want to use your star card? And I'm like, what? So I went and
And
found it.
You're out of the military.
I'm out like 3 or 4 years at this point. And I found my star cards in a box somewhere. And I was like, no fucking way. And I put all the numbers in and it worked. And I was like, son of a bitch. I'm like, they can't garnish my wages if I don't pay this back.
Look at your credit
And you'll
report.
still have the same credit.
I still have a
say
star card
your,
balance.
your longest credit, your longest line of credit will be like fucking something crazy. It's your fucking
No,
star card, bro.
so no. So I paid that and I closed it immediately. And I was like, nope,
Mine still says like 24 years or something. It's like, yep.
So you still have your star card.
I still have it.
Could
I've
still
never
use it,
used it.
yeah.
I've used it the one time to buy an NCO sword when I was a corporal in 2001, and then after that, never fucking touched it.
So I was in the era of the Army where we had to go. You got there, you in processed, and they gave you your PT uniforms, your standard uniforms, but they didn't give you anything to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And they confiscated everything you showed up with. So like you showed up with a duffel bag, and they were like, because your recruiter told you like you need to bring this, put it all in a bag, and you show up and they take it in the duffel bag, and they're like, cool, and they take it and they throw it in a locker and they lock the door, and you're like, you can have it at the end of basic training.
That's exactly how it rolls.
So your toothbrush, toothpaste, like everything that you needed to survive, you just don't get it anymore. And then they walked all of our happy asses down to the shopette and said, hey, and it's like, well, I haven't been paid yet. It's like, that's cool. Fill
Here's
this
a
form
star
out right
card.
here. Here's a star card.
Yep.
So the only thing I ever used it for was literally fucking personal
Toiletries.
hygiene shit. to do basic-
$120 for
Yeah, $120.
Dude, I remember I went.
I think I paid $400 to cover
Every-
that $120.
It took me 8 years, the whole enlistment.
I was an E1 when I joined. I enlisted as an E1, so I
Same.
didn't get
Same.
E2 pay or anything.
Yep.
I ran out of money in fucking boot camp. Like from because they give you the list that you had to get because you had to fill the fucking whiskey locker form and everything. They had to fucking have me sign a waiver because I literally overdrafted my account because they were like taking so much because we pay for our uniforms. So
Right.
You guys get lucky. The Army actually they give
You
you
guys have to pay for
We
it.
pay for every
What?
fucking stitch. The Marine Corps that fucking poor.
Yeah,
It's probably
how do you think they afford the hand-me-down equipment?
yeah, like I literally went negative in my bank account during fucking boot camp. It's like setting me up for success here, boys. Let's go.
That's how
You
you
want to talk about
That's how you know it's a
multi-level
cult. Because only in a cult would they be like,
No, this is
you can join, but you got to buy the robe.
straight up
And they-
multi-level marketing. Is
What do
the
you think
U.S.
the
Marine
statute
Corps
of
and
limitations
MLM
is on
Yeah.
Ponzi scheme?
not turning your
100%.
gear in?
I can tell you,
It's
a
30 years.
it's
I
a-
mean, am I safe at 30 years?
You know, you're probably fine.
Well, the supply guy played on my base softball team. So I went to turn my shit in. He's like, Captain, you just keep your flight helmet and your flight suits.
Oh, that's cool.
See you
Wow.
later.
That's nice.
You know, I have
I'm
a
telling you, man,
hey,
always make friends with the supply guy.
I have a great CIF story. So we literally were on the op to kill Uday and Kusei. One of my buddies got shot by either Uday or Kusei.
No, it was by one of his bodyguards.
Yeah, either way, but it hit his vest, went through the collar and like striped down his back, whatever. Right. I'm in line in CIF for him to turn the shit in, and the CIF lady's like, "We can't take this. It's got a hole in it
damaged?
and it's stained."
And it's stained.
And he's like, he pulls his shirt down. He's like, "Yeah, I was fucking shot."
Yeah. You have to go get like a little dermo fucking tag. Yeah.
Well, no, this was
They did the same
this
thing
was
to mine.
this was 04. So
Yeah.
it was before anybody knew a process to do this.
Yeah.
He was one of the first guys in the
And
team
this
that got
lady,
wounded.
this was a black lady, but she turned white. She was like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry."
Well, do you remember when they changed that
That's called
shit over
ashy,
to where
all right?
you weren't allowed to
Whatever.
you weren't allowed to bring your boots home? If you deployed,
Oh,
you couldn't. So
when was that?
you guys might have gone. It might have been after your.
I still have
You're
my
two
boots
or
I
time- right.
deployed with.
So after that, they changed it to where if you deployed, you couldn't take your boots home.
That's fair.
So
I
well,
didn't want them.
right, but and it was supposed
were
to be in that
smelly.
whole like you're not supposed to bring sand home. You're not supposed
Yeah.
to bring like any sort of. And they were like, so somebody finally snapped to the fact that like, so they can't take a baby jar full of fucking food or sand home from whatever country they were in, but you let them take their boots that literally have half the country plus whatever other biological
Yeah.
shit is all over these boots,
Yep.
or can let them take back stateside.
Yep.
So they're like, you can't take your boots home. So when you'd rotate out, they would literally make you go and turn your boots in.
And then buy new boots.
Bananas.
But here's the deal. You couldn't DX them because if you DX'd them, now you were wearing boots in country. And you couldn't take those boots home because you wore those boots in country.
Oh my God.
So then there was this period of time where it was like, okay, well, I go home in 2 days. And they're like, okay, you need to turn in XXX because this is deployment asset and you don't need it going back stateside. You need to turn your boots in. And it's like, okay, what the fuck am I supposed to wear? And they're like, well, you can't DX the boots. And it's like, yeah, I understand that. Still here for 2 more days. I'm assuming some first sergeant's going to be hardcore about the fact that I'm not in fucking uniform. The fuck do you want me to put on my feet?
It's a good question.
It's a great question.
So then it turned into these weird duty waivers where you just weren't on duty for 2 days and you were supposed to walk around in your PT uniform and fucking shower shoes.
But your fucking shower shoes and your fucking Go Fasters are still getting the dirt on them.
I didn't say it made sense. I was just saying.
Hey man, this is the Army, okay?
What the fuck, man? I don't know. The Marine Corps didn't make us take.
Oh no,
our
here was the
boots.
great part.
We-
Then
I
you
gotta
came back
bring those up.
stateside. The Army took your boots. And you're like, well, they took my boots. I need new boots. But you didn't have boots to DX because the Army took your boots from you. So you just had to buy new boots. And that's where all that crazy regulation came from of which companies you were and weren't allowed to buy
I have-
fucking boots from.
The
And that
only-
list came out about like, these are authorized, these aren't authorized. Like
Right.
this brand's cool, this brand's not. Like it's all from the Army deciding
the only
you couldn't take certain shit home.
the only boots I was ever issued that I didn't have to pay for were steel toes. They
Yeah.
issued me steel toes to work on
The
Amtrak.
only ones that I
when
did have
when
to
I
buy
lap moved
were-
to when I lap moved to tracks,
2 sets they got me in basic training. That's it.
I had to pay for those. They
Yeah.
check your fucking pay for our boots and boot
that's
camp.
why I joined the Army.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the whole challenge of the show, was to make a
Fuck, they-
show that was good for veterans,
Right.
that the civilians could comprehend.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because of what you're talking about right now, you spent 10, 12, 15 years in the military, how long you're in. They taught you how to be a soldier for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
How long did they teach you how to become a civilian when it was over?
A
Oh,
week.
They didn't even teach us how to turn in our
A
boots.
week. And out of that week,
Okay.
what fucking it was mostly Department of Labor classes that were didn't
Useless.
Yeah, they would be. I remember they were like, raise your hand if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Like half the fucking class raised their hands, and I was like,
Because there was
okay.
nothing
And
else.
that was before OnlyFans.
Yeah, dude, that was way before, man. Like, shit.
How is your OnlyFans paying?
It's- I mean,
Scott?
I owe like $42.
Yeah, mine's still in the green.
In all fairness, though, what did your McJob prep you for going to the military?
The what?
What did your McJob teach you
My
for going into the
McJob.
military? We've had the McJob conversation.
It's true. It's true because I worked.
What did that
McDonald's.
prep you for going to the
It taught me that when something's beeping, I have to do something.
It taught me to do what I was told.
So, again, this is just me being devil's advocate. I get the military doesn't prep you for being a civilian. That was never in the brochure.
That's true.
Very true.
It like
Very, very true.
and especially and no dig on it, but if you go in to go do pull trigger shit, what skill set did you think you were learning that was going to translate into the civilian sector?
I could be an assassin.
Oh, dude, you're going to go John Wick?
I put
I mean,
bullshit resume on I don't even know what it was at the time, monster.com,
Sure.
the job thing, as an assassin, just to see if anybody would get anything. And then I realized that that's highly illegal, and then I took it down. But it was up for like 2 months. I never got any, nobody reached out.
technically speaking, the highest paid job that I've ever had was because of trigger pulling. When I was a fucking military contractor,
Right.
and I was a
Right,
trigger
but-
puller.
and
That was
that's
the highest paid gig I had
But you have
as a
to-
civilian.
You have to look at the availability, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, sure, I can say like I did a very non-linear job and all that kind of stuff, and it translated into this, that, and it didn't. I got out of the military, and
It's kind of hard to psyop in the corporate world.
it's not. It's just sales.
Yeah.
But if you don't understand that what you're doing is sales,
Yeah.
then you can't go be a salesman.
And there's no path to show you when you're leaving the military, this correlates to this.
Right.
So you're
Yeah.
on your own.
Yeah.
You got to figure out all on your own.
And I think we've had this conversation before about like biggest piece of advice we'd give to people getting out of the military. And it's, you need to start learning how to think on your own. Because for the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, somebody's told you where to be, how to be there, what it's going to look like.
This
Here's
is
the-
every day you know what your mission is when you get up.
right.
Yeah.
And then now you have to get out and be an adult. And the world doesn't give a fuck if you're shit straight. They're
Not at all.
like, they don't care. Like you are sub 1% of it, of the people that have ever put that uniform on. The other 99.9% don't give a shit that all of your stuff was taken care of.
Right.
Now you have to come out and it's big boy mode out here. I get it. They tell us we're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, and it was a blast. And some of my best friends in the world I have, the people sitting at this table, are because we all wore the uniform at some point. But out here in the real space, you realize that you lived in a bubble.
Yeah.
Now, shows like
I'm
this
still
are
getting, I'm still getting paid for it.
this show is important because it shows what that bubble's like.
Exactly. It shows that, okay, now you're out.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So Joe goes to this marketing firm because he's a good artist. He's been drawing Dixon porta potties, for
For a decade.
for a decade, right?
Boy.
He's been drawing, squadron patches. He's been drawing. So he translates that into a marketing company.
Yeah.
But he gets there and he has no way to relate to these people because they're never on time. They're not motivated. They're just punching a clock every day.
Yeah.
And so, so it makes him crazy, right? Because he didn't know how to relate to them. And the funny thing about the show is, he has kind of a mentor. His old commander is now running a Legion post. He's out of the military. And he's like, Joe, you can't expect them to come to you.
Right.
This is their world. You have to learn to come to them. And that's hard to understand because, again, they're never on time. They're not motivated.
Yeah.
They're just they're doing the minimum that they have to do to get by. And so that creates this huge problem for him. And that's what's so great about the show is you see the transition that Joe makes from single-minded purpose. He knows what to do every day
Right.
to try to relate to these other people.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest part of the show, was making it believable for vets, but making the civilian world understand what veterans are trying to do as they're trying to integrate into the civilian world.
Yeah.
Scott, before I forget, this is actually a present for you from Chris Freeman.
Oh, shit.
That's a hell of a
Bottle
present.
of,
Yeah, it is.
Diplomatico is fucking
Diplomatico
awesome.
I fucking love Diplomatico.
which he wanted me to bring it to the show.
All right.
And I met up with him this weekend.
Oh, cool.
And because he was in town.
Nice.
So I met up with him
That
last
fucker
week.
was in town and didn't call me.
He was in town for like a day.
I don't give a
with his
fuck.
family and leave. and, but he gave us
Chris, if you're listening to this, you're getting a
Whoa.
fucking phone call.
You were dead until like 30
That-
minutes.
Oh,
very
that's
true.
why.
You have a strong point. You have a
You
strong
were
point.
dead
He was
till 30
just, he was
minutes
waiting to
ago.
know when the funeral was.
I had to break the news that you were actually alive. And he was like, well, fuck.
Here, give
But
him
he,
this bottle.
but he gave us this bottle of Broken Fence as always. So thank you, Chris. And he wanted me
Fuck
to
yeah.
hand a bottle of Domenico rum to you, my friend.
Hell yeah.
Me being-
Diplomatico.
Diplomatico rum.
Me being
Great.
dead would have
Hollywood,
been
you're
the
a
best
rum
thing
guy
that ever
too?
happened to my social media.
Yes, I am.
Right.
Oh, I have another story. So I did have a birthday over the weekend.
Yes, happy
Yeah.
birthday, pal.
Thank you.
What is that?
How old are you?
1,942?
5,400.
2,538.
Is that what we're
I'm
at?
28. You fucking assholes.
28 centuries.
But I will say this.
Tomato.
My good friend Gary Brugman brought me a birthday cake. He brought me
It definitely had a dick on it.
an Oreo cake, and as he's walking through the shop, I'm sitting in my chair over there, right? He's bringing it to me, and he
Trip.
drops it. It does like 3 falls in the air, lands upside down. So the birthday cake was okay. The delivery was fucking awesome. So thank you, Gary Brugman, for throwing me a birthday cake.
Fucking that.
Literally.
Yeah,
Quite literally.
That's funny.
That's fun, man. Happy belated, pal.
thanks.
Touching back on The Office, Joe, and the transitioning part of it. If you watch that first season and there isn't a scene in there that you're like, oh yeah, fuck, that happened to me. Like you didn't really get out of the military. Like
Yeah.
there is something that's in there that is relatable to every single person at least one point in that show. Something that is just like, fuck yeah.
Well,
Yeah, like almost verbatim. That happened.
what I like about this idea is that you're not just tailoring to the military and the veteran community, but you want to have something for the civilian populace as well.
So they
right?
can maybe understand why, because as we know, every Hollywood movie, we're either superheroes or we're so fucked up we can't even function in life.
Yeah.
So this,
Poor Kate Losto.
the good thing about this show is it shows what a guy that gets out of the military that can fit into the world, which is what most of us are doing,
Sure.
what they can do and the challenges we face becoming civilians.
I don't know. I live that Con Air lifestyle.
Should I start singing that song by Trisha Yearwood?
Please.
No, he's talking about the cannibal that was in the movie, not Nicholas
Oh,
Cage.
yeah.
no,
I
it's like-
definitely was not like
Steve
Nicolas Cage.
Buscemi's character. Yeah.
He was singing the song too with the little
He
girl.
was.
Got the whole
They have the tea party.
world.
Yeah.
It is hands got the whole world. It is hands.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Yes.
think that's why shows like this are important, though. Look, I do think the hero story is important.
Yeah.
I think these guys.
No,
I think the stories
absolutely.
need to be told. Right, it's important.
Right, no, 100%.
But shows like this, where it's a look, this is kind of it. I'm going to make the pun, just kind of the average Joe.
But bump.
Yeah, there you go. That gets out that needs to go back into the world. There's growing pains on both sides. It's hard to bring a fresh out of the military veteran into the workplace.
Especially in a corporate workplace.
It's hard.
Especially if
It's
you're the only one there that has any idea
well,
where you're coming
I
from.
mean, for the workplace, the
Yeah.
workplace, it's difficult. Like that's a hard transition for somebody that is used to ingrained system. They're because now you have to try and adapt to this new employee that's bringing value to your space,
Just wait there.
but you don't know what to do with this guy
Right.
because he's so different from what you're used to dealing with. And then there is the side of how does this guy who is so used to this ingrained system, all this structure and everything that's going into something more relaxed, how does he adapt? And there's always going to be that growing pain. I don't hire veterans because they're fucking awful.
Because it's natural if you're coming from that you expect them to adapt to you. And to
They're going to
adjust
drink
you.
your whole fucking drink.
It's fucking delicious.
Hey, can I get a
You wanna-
piece?
Yeah, it's so good.
It's really nice.
It is this Diplomatico is very good and about to be gone, I think.
It's just delicious. Like the aftertaste, it's phenomenal.
Do I have to hold my finger up like you did?
If
You
you
should.
want.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fancy.
You're the one with the rainbow watch. And now you're making fun of me about the pinky?
I'm inclusive, bro.
I am too.
I'm totally inclusive. That's great.
That is
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
so
So
good.
good.
Fucking A.
See,
Oh,
I
let me get some of
am
that.
I am of the mind that cigars were meant to be drank
Here, try that.
smoked with rum.
There's a little bit left.
There's a
So,
lot of you Scotch
I
and
have-
bourbon
I
whiskey
agree
guys
100%.
out
I have
there.
hung out with a lot of
Thanks,
Dominicans
Scott.
that would 100% agree
I
with
think
you.
that if you're drinking rum with your cigar, there's something wrong with you.
That is wonderful.
So for the listeners,
That's
Scott, thanks for letting me back. buddy.
I handed John a full glass of Diplomatico rum, and he to taste it.
I tasted it. It was
He
delicious.
handed it to
It was so
Mikey.
good.
I
Mikey
tasted
handed it
it.
back to John, and so forth. Now I have an empty glass.
And then Jazz and Hollywood got in on
Yeah.
it too.
and
so
now
now
we
I'm-
all have
But
herpes.
you know that I'm a rum guy and I'm going to abuse
yeah, and you're welcome.
I like
sir.
that Hollywood was like,
There's no guessing about my desire for rum.
Yeah, no, this is good too.
I'm
It's
like,
Diplomatico is
I'm like Johnny
outstanding.
Depp. There's no rum.
when
My
I,
favorites are Diplomatico and Brugal.
Well, then I'm glad we
Okay.
got this on a good day, man.
when I
We got
met
this on a good episode.
when I first met Hollywood, he drank
The Kraken.
the Kraken like it was going out of style.
Oh my god.
I drank the Kraken because
Because you hate yourself?
No, because nobody else would, and he'd have the whole bottle to
because
himself.
Captain Morgan Black is seldom available.
Okay.
And I have to admit it. Hey, I'm an Air Force guy. I like
It's showing right
I
now.
like the vanilla cinnamon, the hits of vanilla and cinnamon.
Yeah.
I like that with a cigar.
Hey, we don't judge.
Dude, I got a cousin.
Yeah, you do. You judge the
I don't
fuck. You
judge.
guys are judging
Every time you
I
showed
am
up, we'd have a
judging
bottle
the
of
shit out of you right
I got a
now.
cousin that's gay, man. I can introduce you.
Hollywood. Every time you showed up to Vegas, we had a bottle of Kraken for you.
You did.
We didn't judge.
No, you didn't. That's true.
Nope.
Oh, I can judge and still accept you. Like I can be like, we got to
What
buy
was the
Kraken for this
hardest
piece of
thing
shit. Like,
For you to do to get in, when you decided to become a civilian.
Well, so for me, it was a different story because I'm a retired Marine, right? Like,
Right.
and I got forced retired. I got medically retired.
Right.
So I was a good jarhead, right? I fit in that. I was square
Right.
peg, square hole, right?
So that made your transition even more
Harder.
difficult.
Yeah, because I didn't want to get out. I was content with doing 30 fucking years. I
Right.
loved the Marine Corps. I
You're
loved
using
being
a
in the
lot
Marines.
of
I loved
past
everything.
tense there, Marie.
Right.
I know, right?
He loves
You're gonna
the
get
Marine
called
Corps.
out.
He doesn't
I'm a
anymore.
retired Marine. All right, that's the.
Yeah,
that's
but you
the
said
loophole.
you were a good jarhead.
I
And
was.
he
Your
loved-
bad
your
jarhead
your,
now.
promun-
You'd
your
definitely be a bad jarhead now.
your pronunciation.
I
is
have
wrong.
weed in my pocket, man. I would definitely be a terrible jarhead.
Your pronunciation is wrong. It's retarded.
Oh, right. No, that
It
was
rhymes with jarhead.
You know what? You're still my favorite jarhead.
Thank you. But so like I got forced retirement. They were like, sorry, kid, you can't be a jarhead no more. And
So
I
it was
just
even
like,
more difficult for you
It
because
was-
you had no plan.
very difficult. I had no plan, man. And I had a wife and 2 kids. And they were young. My youngest was fucking 2. My oldest was 3. You know what I mean? So I was like, fuck, man. Like, what now? You know, fortunately, I say I set myself up for success, but I moonlit as a bartender my entire time in. So I had a skill set
So you had
that
a
I could
skill.
do. So I when I first got out, my first job was bartending. All right. I was craft bartender. I was good at it. I was making
So
money.
you
And I
had
was doing
been
fine.
dealing with civilians,
So that's what helped me.
and
is
that made a huge difference.
because
for
the
you, right?
15 year I had a civilian life, technically. There were civilian friends of mine who didn't even know I was in the military.
This is how we're different. Because when I got out, I bartended as well, but it was to fuel my alcoholism.
Oh, no, I was
I
doing
got
that
paid
too.
to drink, but that was the only reason.
That's why I was doing that.
It
That's why
wasn't
I
because I was
started
like, oh, I
doing it
gotta
when I
find a
was
job.
in, man.
Because I have a family I have to support. Mine was like, I'm a raging alcoholic, and now I can pay my bills.
Well, the Marine Corps didn't pay me enough for my alcoholism, so I had to bartend. That's how I learned. That's why I learned to bartend.
That's a great point, because in Office Joe is talking to the camera. He's like,
Hey,
you know,
try not to make it 6 months this time.
Okay, Dad.
because Joe,
You know we're all white, right?
Hollywood, you were saying?
so Joe puts up this pie graph that being in the military was 20% alcoholism,
Yeah.
10% following a officer around who was good at running and wanted to prove he was good at running, 10% waiting for shit to happen,
Cleaning weapons.
10%.
20% for cleaning weapons, 10%, 1% the cool shit that you see in the movies. And then he gets up and he comes back and he goes,
It's weirdly
wait a
accurate.
minute, there was a lot more alcoholism. So it goes to like 70% alcohol.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Well,
it's
because
a-
most of the time when we're doing the cool shit you see in the movie, we're drunk.
that's right.
Yeah.
That is the hardest part of the show, was showing civilians what it was really like to be in the military and making them realize that people in the military, when they get out, they have the same concerns, worries that civilians have every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Am I going to be good at my job? Am I going to keep my job? Am I going to be able to provide for my family? So that's what I think is the best message in Office Joe, is that military civilians, you have the same worries.
Sure.
You have the same concerns, and making the show appealing to
I just got to grab my balls.
We're
Hold on.
listening.
you have tiny balls, both of you.
You have no idea.
It's cold.
No.
It's really cold.
And now we have the thumbnail.
Thank you very much.
So I was fortunate because one thing, the aspect of my transition that really helped, besides cutting my dick off, what really helped, different.
That's also in Joe.
Right, was because I hated my bartending job. Right, I didn't like the job that I worked at, and then I ended up.
Because it was a bartending job. It wasn't doing anything to help you really
It was
become a better person.
a nightmare bartending job, but there was no enrichment. Very true.
It was also in Baltimore.
What helped me was when I became a contractor, it was still military-esque. You know, it was military adjacent. You know, I
We had the structure. It was
there was a
similar.
structure, and
A
I was
structure
in a
that you were
leadership
comfortable
position.
with and used to.
And the people I was working with were all military.
Right.
Every person I was with were all prior military, right? So
was this Americana?
no.
When you first got out? When did you go to Americana?
While I was I was still active duty when I was doing that. No, this was at Whiskey Cake here in San Antonio. It
Oh,
was my
fuck that
first job
bar,
after
man.
the fucking Marine
Oh
Corps.
shit.
That bar
You know,
sucks.
so the food's fucking good though.
Yeah, but now the bar sucks.
Well, it's because I left.
I'm just saying, because you talked about it so much, I went and tried it.
It's
You know,
phenomenal.
I
The
liked
bar
it
is
better when you were
awful.
dead.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
but transitioning into a job that was so military esque,
Yeah.
right? As
Yeah.
a contractor,
Yeah.
severely helped me transition back in. Plus, it put a lot of coin in my pocket.
because you
gave me a
started
cushion,
dealing with
right.
you started
fucking-
dealing with corporate structure.
yeah.
Yeah.
You had to deal with some civilian
Well,
structure.
and I had enough money afterwards. After I contracted for like a year and a half, 2 years, right? And I had enough money where I was like, you know what? Let me focus on school. So I went back to school, and then I got my degree, and I started applying, and nothing was coming up because it's hard out here. Kind of hard out here for a pimp. So like, finally, I was literally about to go contract again, and then the employer that formerly employed Jazz, myself, and Justin, they called me and they were like, "Hey, we want you to come work for us."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fucking finally!" But that's the biggest thing, right? We treat grunt style like Voldemort around here. So like our like that ended up, and then even when I got there, At that job, I had Jazz. I had guys like Justin. I knew these guys.
Yeah.
You know, I already knew you guys
Yeah.
from before that, but right before, yeah. But still, like, you know, like I was around veterans. I was around my people, right? So
Well, for a bit.
the way my transition out of the military worked, it worked very well for me, right? Like, but I got super fucking lucky, and I recognize that because 99.9% of guys who get out, they don't have that.
Yeah, and Joe comes upon that in the middle of the show. He's like, they don't understand me. They're different than me. I think I should go back to contracting. I think I should, you know, leave this.
So-
I made a mistake. I shouldn't have gotten out. And his mentor, who's his former commander, a colonel who's now an American Legion commander in California, he's like, Joe, you can't expect them to adjust to you.
Yeah.
Right.
You're in their world now.
Right.
You know, and that's hard for veterans to realize that, you know, I've had all this responsibility and all this serious stuff. Now I have to adjust to an entirely different lifestyle
Right.
to fit in.
I mean, it happened to me. Like, I mean,
I
I used to
just-
call the servers at Whiskey Cake white shirts because they wore white shirts,
Yeah.
and they'd walk up. I'd be like, "What do you want, white shirt?" And they were like, "You're being too aggressive and I was like, "Fuck out of here! You haven't seen aggression." And I was like,
Right.
"That's just me, man. Like, I'm just an intense dude, you know.
Right.
Like, plus, I'm just out of the Marine Corps, man. I like 3 weeks before this, I was fucking locking kids' bodies and making them cry, like fucking grown ass men, you know. And now you expect me to talk to this child, you know, this 18, 19-year-old kid,
That
like,
has
and
feelings.
I'm being nice to him, but just I'm abrasive, right?
Even-
I was so
yeah.
abrasive
Even
that they
for
were
me,
like,
30
"Oh."
years later, because I'm very direct and I'm very forceful.
Yeah.
And I'm a big guy, but in my mind, I don't feel that way. And I'm like telling somebody, dude, this edit looks like shit. You know,
same, brother.
You can't,
fucking same.
you can't say that because you know if you take a step back, they're like this. They're scared shitless.
yeah.
You know, and I don't even know that I'm being loud. I don't even know I'm
don't
being
realize it.
because you don't realize it.
Yeah.
So
No,
I've heard
that's just us
John
talking.
do it, and I do it too, and it's exactly what you're all talking about.
I've seen
and
you do it at
so
your shop.
yeah.
I've
What-
seen you do it, and your employees are like, "Oh."
well, I've
And it's
More-
Luckily, all of our employees are military.
Yeah.
So-
but
Reasons.
I've seen John
I
do
know.
it. I've done it where I literally have to go like, look, we're gonna have a talk, and I'm gonna speak to you incredibly directly.
This is, I'm very honest with you right
And
now.
this is you're probably not gonna be used to it, but you just need to brace up because what I'm about to say is gonna be incredibly blunt. When we were at Grunt Style, that's how I handled my design team and all that kind of stuff. But it is that military efficiency model. I don't have time to sit here and make you feel good about your mistakes.
But
We just need to fix the mistake. And I've heard John do it. I tend to stay out of whenever you're getting into conversation with. I just tend to walk away when like Scott's doing it. But I'm sure he's done it too.
Yeah.
But it is literally one of those. Look, this is going to be incredibly direct, but it's more efficient. It's not that I'm trying to be a dick.
So-
It's just the more efficient model.
But
So
they don't understand that. If you go to someone that has never been in the military and you say, you know, this edit you did or this job you did, it's not cutting it.
No, that's too
they
nice.
feel like you're saying you're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
never going to be any good. And
it's like, if I wanted to say that,
But,
I would.
like,
no, exactly. And it
Yeah.
destroys them. And now they don't want to do anything because
Right.
they think that
And
you're
then they-
telling them they're not capable.
and then they run to HR.
like being in the being in the military to relate like how it translates between the both in the military. It's not like, hey, this isn't going to cut it. It's like, hey man, this looks like shit. You got to redo this. And you got to do it fucking right.
Yep.
And you do it right fucking now.
But that's military
But-
motivation.
There's no emotion in that.
No.
I'm not saying like I fucking hate you. Go kill yourself.
But they've never been taught to themselves like that ever.
Exactly.
So to them,
So when
they're
you say
hearing,
that-
I'm going to kill you because you suck.
right.
But that's military motivation.
Right.
So like if
But I also feel like that's why half of our vendors get shit done once I get to that point and I have that conversation. Because at that point, I don't care. Right? We're paying you. You need to supply us with whatever it is.
Hollywood, one of my favorite things in the world is watching John go full Karen.
yeah,
It's one of my favorite things.
But because
But
specifically with
doing
any
that
sort
to
of
a
shipping vendor.
is different than doing that to an employee.
100%.
Oh, I do it to my employees all the time.
100%.
Geico. Geico. That's the best shit I've ever
Oh, that was a
seen.
good one.
That was the best shit I've ever fucking seen.
I do it to my
this
employees all the
day.
time.
So one of the things I learned in the military that I probably should not have learned is that teaching through embarrassment is very effective.
Super important.
in the military,
Yeah.
right?
In the military.
So I taught through embarrassment a lot.
in the civilian world.
Now, as a father, I still teach through embarrassment. I've learned in the last 5 years or so that once I do that, I need to circle back, right? So an hour after I teach through embarrassment and I'm harsh, right? I need to circle back and then actually have a conversation and teach the lesson.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And so,
Well, otherwise, you're just a dick.
but there's two reasons that I raise my kids that way. One is to prepare them for the world who doesn't give a fuck about them.
Facts.
Right. I want them to be able to take a harsh ass chewing. Right. Well, that and my kids are going to join the military. So I'm preparing them for that. But then recently I learned that I need to circle back and teach that. I need to have a teaching moment and not just be an asshole.
Right.
But I very much enjoy and miss being that asshole.
Yeah.
Like and so I don't know if I do it a lot with employees and stuff like that, but I try not to, because if I go down that road, once you have one drink, like,
Oh, fuck.
Once
drinking the whole bottle, right?
I don't do that shit. So I literally weigh that because of the personality I've built with my business.
But I think the reason that I'm different than you in that aspect is because I have kids.
I'm just talking about employees.
Right.
Kids, I had a shit on my kids fucking from day one. But with my employees, and a lot of it has to do with the personality I built with my company.
Right.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
what my customer expects from my staff and the demographic on my staff. I mean, like 70% of my client base is prior military.
Sure.
So these are not people that have an issue with me going like, sorry, bud, you missed it. You got fucked. And they go like, damn, all right, better luck next time.
Yeah.
Like, but I can say that to most of my customer base
Yeah.
literally just like that. I'm not paraphrasing. I'll just be like, you're late. It came out 2 weeks ago. You got fucked. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
So
and they're fine. But I'm that way with my employees where I just go like, we have a written standard
do you side with your employee over
every
or,
time.
or the customer?
No, every time.
You,
So
you
if
side with the employee.
So if something happens between my customer and my employee, they came in and the customer was an asshole and
The customer's always an asshole.
yeah, no, exactly. No, so if a customer comes in and they're a dick to my employee, or my employee follows our standard and then the customer gets aggressive and then they kick it back and then they want to escalate it on the floor to the public, my employee and I toe the line.
Right.
We are whatever my employee backed, I'm backing that employee.
Yeah.
Now, if I pull that employee behind the scenes and go, hey, how this happened, we need to talk about what the fuck happened here, because you said this or you overstepped here or whatever, that's fine. But the public facing side of it always needs to look like that we're unified. I am never going to throw my people under the fucking bus. That is
So-
never going to fucking
so
happen.
I
Boy, dude,
I
good for
differ-
you, dude.
I differ a little bit. So I'm going to go back to kids, right? If the teacher bitches about my kids, I'm on the teacher's side until I hear that story.
Right,
Yeah.
but you were
Right,
talking
yeah.
about a shaping
But then once I find the story, but until I talk to the teacher, I'm on the teacher's side. I don't trust my kid.
Right.
I'm
You know,
con-
I did that with some of my soldiers as well while I
Right.
was in. You did too. Don't lie.
and I'm kind of the same way. I'll trust my customer until I hear the story.
No, fuck that. And it's
But just until I hear the story.
Well,
No.
like
Once I know the story and I choose, but I won't, like I try to come out neutral, right? But
my oldest threw a chair at his teacher the other day. He threw a chair,
okay,
and I was like, "What'd you do?"
yeah,
I was like, "I know my son. I know John. John's a good kid. He's
Right,
super
right, right.
sweet. He's very, very chill.
right.
What'd you guys do?" Well, we told him this and this, and then I was like, "So he didn't understand you, and he got frustrated, and you kept doing it. What was the antecedent, right? Because that's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing that I'm always
Because you
asking.
continue
What
to
is
push
the
somebody,
antecedent? Yes.
anybody is
Yeah.
going to respond.
And I
to
don't
you.
care who it is,
So-
right? And it's like, no, if you were being a fucking dick to my kid and my kid retaliated, like they hit me up the other day because John punched a kid in the face. And I was like, well, what'd the kid do? He's like, well, he pushed Jameson down. He's like, oh, so my older son punched a kid in the face who
Standing
pushed
up for
down
his
his
little
little brother.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, I was like, good to go. And they were like, okay, well, what do you want to do about it? I'm like, absolutely nothing. I might take him for a milkshake. I was like, Maybe next time don't
Right.
call dad, but I got
Yeah.
bad news for you. Mom's gonna say the same shit.
Yeah. We're suspending him for 3 days. That's enough time to get to Disneyland and back. I don't know what the fuck to tell you, my
Looks
boy.
like we're going to SeaWorld, homie.
Yeah, like-
Like, yeah. I'm proud as
Fuck
fuck
up.
of that fact, man. The
No,
fact that John-
absolutely.
some kid pushed JMO down and
Right.
went to bite him. He went to bite JMO.
And John fucking decked him?
John caught him in the front on the way down. The kid was going like this. And
Tell John
Wrong.
I owe him. Tell John I owe him an ice cream.
Fucking A, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like John went fucking full on shark tooth on him. As you know, he's into sharks.
But I think part of the reason I am the way I am, and I default to like I'm going to trust the teacher initially first, right?
Yeah.
Is because when I was growing up, I was an asshole, and I
Whoa,
knew
whoa, whoa.
I
What do
knew
you
the
mean you're
lies.
growing up?
I knew the
He's
lies.
still
I
growing
told.
up, Hollywood.
Yeah, I knew the
Just said
lies.
he was 28.
Like you know what I mean. So like
You ever heard the Epic of Gilgamesh? The bad guy was Scott.
Oh man.
I just placed you pre-Bible. How do you feel about that? You're even before the Torah.
perfect.
You know, when we were in Colorado after the cigar event a couple weeks ago, and we were having all those religious discussions, I was really hoping you were going to chime in with some personal first-hand experience, but you didn't.
Guys, I can tell you, first experience, he didn't mean that.
Goliath wasn't as tall as everybody says. David was just really small.
Yeah. People were really short back then, man. You know, that's probably true. Goliath was probably like 6'2". Like, that was it.
That's true.
It's probably true.
Actually-
we're 5'6" back then.
They did a bunch
So-
of science on that, and they're saying that he was probably about 7.5 feet.
Now,
Really?
so
That
on,
would be a giant.
on the Warfighter
Now it's
podcast,
just, that's a tall motherfucker.
on the Warfighter podcast, we were talking about some things that Hollywood's done in his past.
Okay.
Like digging into the history and
'Cause you've got-
just things he's done. It's
you've got
super cool.
Big credits.
It's
under
a
your belt.
lot of
Um,
porn.
But one of the
Like-
things that we dug
We
into,
didn't even get into that.
we didn't
We
get
get
into
into
that. That was
porn.
we're going to get into that on this one.
Just-
But one of the things that we got into
I thought we
is
were going to talk about porn today at all.
no.
We
So-
never agreed
So
upon that.
Hollywood discovered an ancient Egyptian artifact years before it was actually publicly shown. But what he didn't talk about is Scott was one of the ones that buried it.
Exactly.
That's how we know
Well,
it's a
like-
dildo.
Like, you,
I
you
can't
worked on-
wait to outlive you,
like, for
motherfuckers.
instance, you worked on Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End?
2, 3, and 4.
2, 3, and 4, right? What did you do on those?
Rigging
productions?
gaffer, rigging electrics. We'd go in and we'd set up all the power, all the lighting, and the first unit would come in and shoot. We'd go to the next location, put all the lights and everything in, all the power in.
Yeah.
And then when they moved to the next location, we go back to that location and pull all the power and stuff out.
I have a
So
question.
you were pre-post G&E?
How
Yes.
terrible is Johnny Depp's breath? Because looking at that guy's teeth, it's got to be a fucking shit show.
That was makeup.
I mean, even in regular life, man, look at the fucking trial teeth, dude. That guy's
G&E,
got a
G&E
fuck
almost never interacts with above the line.
up. I know.
With the what?
First unit Genie does. Second
Uh,
rigging Genie does not.
Wait,
Yeah,
with
but
the-
you were pre-post G&E,
what?
right? Yeah,
What was
so
it? What was
Jazz
it?
has a
What,
film degree.
what did you call it? With the what? They
So-
don't interact with the what?
Second unit
Above the
or-
line?
or rigging
Okay.
crew seldom interacts with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
actors.
No,
So-
I didn't
Unless-
hear that. I
Okay.
thought it was like a
No, so
specific word for
so
the actors,
above the
and I was like,
line,
what?
above the line refers to the budget.
Okay.
So above the line budget doesn't change.
Mhm.
So above the line budget, if they say like, "Hey, we're going to bring Hollywood in and he's going to direct, and his rate for directing this film is X," he is an above the line cost. So regardless of what the budget of the film is,
Got it. Okay.
Hollywood's pay is X amount, and we are never going to change that.
Yep.
Now, below the line stuff is where you get into a lot of the G&E stuff. So your grips, your gaffers, day players,
Correct.
any of that
Okay.
kind of stuff. That is shit where it's like,
Construction,
hey,
set dressing.
we need to shave $100,000. And it's like, well, it looks like you're running 14s and we'll pay the overtime because it is still less expensive to pay you the 2 hours extra than it is to bring in the second crew.
Correct.
All of that stuff's adjustable.
Mhm.
Above the line is non-adjustable.
Okay.
Below the line is
Okay.
adjustable.
And
Okay.
that's the biggest complaint now in the movie business is because first unit, who is with the actors and with the production,
I'll be right back.
is
Sure.
doing 15, 16, 18 hours.
Yeah.
And so there's no
So instead of adding an employee, they're just paying these guys a little
They're
more
just paying
in
these guys
overtime.
overtime.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you start on Monday at 6 a.m., actors have a 12-hour turnaround. By the time you get to Friday, you're coming in at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon, and you're working Saturday until 2, 3, 4, or 5, 6 in the morning.
Okay.
So you only get like 36 hours off.
Okay.
So there's no quality of life there.
Right.
And that's what's caused all this problem with the latest contract negotiation.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
so that's a good segue into my question is, so you've worked on massive productions, huge productions like Disney level stuff.
Correct.
And then you've worked on like small independent
Range
film.
15
Like Office
episodes.
Joe was tiny.
Office Joe was
Office
tiny.
Joe, we did 6 episodes for 120 grand.
Which one do you prefer and why?
Oh, that's a great
Like-
question.
I like being involved in the smaller productions because I'm usually the producer.
Sure.
So I have more control.
Yeah.
So everything that happens depends on me having my shit together. Like
Sure.
there's no way to do a 6-episode TV show for 120 grand in 20 days, but we did it
Right.
because
There's a lot more.
cut all the excess out of the way.
There's a lot more freedom in small production too, and you can be more agile.
That's
Like
correct.
you can.
like we figured out, okay,
I don't know, man. We shot 4 episodes in what, 4 days, Justin?
how long were your episodes?
Oh, not very
They
long.
weren't episodes. They were sub 10.
They were fucking
Right.
10
So-
minutes.
Oh, so you
and,
shoot
and that's the
content.
cool thing about Office Joe is we were able to do the show for 120 grand,
It's huge.
and it should have been 150,000 per episode.
Right.
So it should have cost about $800,000-$900,000 to do it.
Nice.
But we picked one. We used. I think we had 3 locations for the whole shoot. You know, we kept everything close. We shot in our office for literally 2/3 of the show. We lit it so that we didn't have to bring in extra lighting. We lit it so that we can shoot it 10, 11, 12 hours and do 20 pages, which is unheard of.
Do you do in-house post?
Yeah.
So that's a massive time and money saving
That's
when
great.
you do in-house post.
I'll be right back.
Oh,
Scene 6.
See, y'all are going to be
Hey, I'm 60.
Hollywood, and I could go down a deep rabbit hole on
right.
the nitty gritty of this
I
shit.
told you I
but
wanted you on the
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
man. That's why we brought
Uh,
Jazz back, because Hollywood's here.
It's just this.
He'll be gone next
I'm
week.
actually kicked off for 6 months after.
He's going to go piss again. Don't worry.
It's good to be back, boys. It's good to be back.
Good to see you, pal.
It's very nice.
good to have you
It
back.
feels like it's supposed to feel.
It feels right. And I don't know if you guys noticed, we got fancy shit. We're on that Joe Rogan mic.
See, Jazz left for
No,
6
no.
months and he improved his business and made a fuckload of money. And we have all these nice equipment.
I didn't
now.
pay for this shit. I didn't pay for this shit.
You did? So who the fuck paid for that? No,
Well,
kidding.
Weirdly
He
enough,
just-
us.
He just hasn't
Somehow.
gotten the bill yet.
Oh, shit.
Hey, you know what? It took 5 years of monetization for us to afford new microphones.
Yeah. Yeah.
In all fairness, I'm tired of Justin playing on that fucking poverty board over there. I might have to improve that. That's
Hey, you if you'd like to donate something to the show.
You know, that's
not donating shit.
that is one of my favorite nicknames for a firearm manufacturer is the poverty pony. And it's for Anderson Manufacturing.
I bought a new truck and I was sitting there talking to him. I was like, look, here's the deal. These are the options I don't want, but I don't want to get in my truck and see fucking poverty panels. And the dude knew exactly what I was talking about.
He's
And it
like,
was
okay,
just
you
like-
need this trim level.
And it was like, I don't want to see any of the little filler panels in my truck that says that like you can't afford this button.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't. I was like, I whatever the trim level I need, where I don't have poverty panels in my fucking truck. Like that's the level I want, and I don't want anything above that because I'm never going to use those features.
Right.
Like I don't need that.
I don't
shit.
need to be able to actually push it, but don't just block it off.
Yeah, but I don't want the block plate. Like, well, it's things like there's like a ledge in the dash on the new F-150.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a certain trim level, it doesn't have the cover. It's just like this weird, like empty ledge. But if you get the right trim level, it puts a cover on it with a release button. So if you push the button, it opens the
Oh,
cover.
for-
And it's
yeah,
like a
your
little
second
secret
glove box.
compartment,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second glove box.
Yep.
If you don't, you just get this useless little ledge.
I put
Or-
napkins and a tourniquet in.
Or you can buy the lesser trim package and spend $30 for that part.
You can't, though. I checked.
You looked that up.
It turns out the trim package I wanted is called 302 Alpha. And that makes sure that you get no poverty panels, but I don't get any of the shit I don't want.
Like leather.
So yeah, and I looked at the leather. Well, here's the deal: is that apparently for $1,100 now they will put like saddle tooled leather on my front seats. But if I wanted Ford leather put in, it was going to cost me $9,000. And I was like, so you could tell me I can get custom tooled leather put in the truck for $1,100, or I can spend $9,000 to get Ford leather that's going to crack.
Yeah.
Cool. I think I'll go with
Yep,
it. I'll
I
just
know
get
what
the
I'm doing.
$1,100.
I don't know. I just know I live in Texas.
Well, you and I were just talking about
We
it,
were.
and I was like, look, in the summer I wear shorts, and I wear hoochie daddy shorts because I'm like, fuck it, I got chicken legs and I'm already getting laid. I'm just going to wear shorts so I'm comfortable. I don't want to get in my
yeah, when
truck.
my balls hang out of my shorts, it's comfortable too.
But I don't want to get in my truck
Hoochie
and then
daddy.
leave more leather on the seats than it started with. Like, it just isn't a thing I want in my life.
Well, you got a Ford, not a Chevy, so you'd be okay.
And it was just one of those things where I was like, but again, for $1,100, I can put in, it's called the Outlaw. Oh, but it's all that paisley shit that they put on the side of a saddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all that, they'll do that. And so all the wings of my seat will have all of that. And then it's perforated leather in the middle. It's an $1,100 thing for me to put it aftermarket by the dealer, or it's $9,000 extra for me to put it
So the
in
dealer will put the
the aftermarket leather in.
Dude, you're a Harley guy, man. You
Wow.
definitely know a guy.
Okay, first off,
Like, you know a guy who could do fucking custom.
I spend more money on my Harley than I do on anything else in my fucking life. That Harley is, John knows my bike. And you
it's
also
the
know-
gayest thing you own.
It is by far the gayest
Yep.
thing I own because it
Because
is only guys that look like
Jazz
you
will
are
go
the
into his
ones that-
garage and spend 2 hours making sure this thing is spotless. So
Right.
he can go park it
So a
somewhere and have
6'4"
other guys
bearded-
walk up and be
So a
like, "Hey, bro,
6'4"
nice
bearded
bike."
tattoo guy goes, "A nice bike." But you know my bike.
It's
I have
beautiful.
I have sunk money
Yeah.
into that
It's a
motorcycle.
beautiful machine.
Which, by the
But-
way, for all of you that know how extra I am, and Mikey and I just talked about it, I did buy that truck in that color just because it matched my motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh, why do you think I have King Ranches that are red
It-
with the dark lower? Because my
Yep.
bike's red with the dark lower.
So I've already found the wheels that look exactly like the wheels on my motorcycle. So I don't want to
It'll
hear
look-
it side by side.
It'll
You
look,
shut the fuck up.
it'll look great. It'll look great when you trailer your bike to Sturgis. It'll
The
be
last
awesome.
time I saw your side by side, you literally just had the rims sitting on the old tires.
Yeah, I
that it
got
looked
all the
pretty.
tires
Yeah,
now.
uh-huh. So
So, anyways, which one do you like?
if someone else had done Office Joe,
Yeah.
if some production company in LA had done it, it would have been $150,000 an episode.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be
They would have had a crew of 50. I had a crew of 9.
it wouldn't be authentic.
No, because they would have wanted to be involved in it. They would,
Yeah.
they would-
Yeah.
because if you
They would have made it
They
work.
would have made it Hollywood.
if
They
you
wouldn't have
watch-
made it.
If you watch Office Joe, it pushes the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the first episode, the whole trans situation.
Yeah.
You know, they would have lost their minds. But if you by the time you get into the episode, it's treated.
Can we
it's
do a
treated-
little spoiler about that? Because our listeners
Yeah.
will greatly
it's
appreciate
treated
it.
with respect.
Yeah.
Because Joe's interaction with Roth at the end is like, bro,
He's like, wait.
I got this.
go ahead,
So-
Joe.
Are you going to talk about
I
that?
got it.
Okay.
So Joe is talking to his new office employees.
Yeah.
right?
He gets introduced by the boss.
He's like,
Joe,
hey, I'm Joe. I'm transitioning. And then he gets cut off.
He gets interrupted because the boss gets pulled away because she has a Zoom call
Yep.
that she was supposed to be on. So,
So all the watchers know he's transitioning out of the army, but two of the employees, or
Three,
all
all
four
All
of
of
them,
them.
they assume that he
Yeah.
means he's transitioning.
Like you were at the beginning
Sexually.
of the show.
from a woman.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
So when you said that, I was
Mike,
like, oh,
you're
that's great.
transitioning?
and
So
and
for the whole
I
episode,
already did.
For the whole episode, they think this muscular, tall, 6'5", 6'7" guy used to be a woman
Hilarious.
Yeah.
one guy absolutely loves it.
because he's
He's
Pro
very open.
trans.
he loves every cause. Save the whales.
He's a cause head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout
Save
out
the
PCU.
whales, vegetarians. He loves all. So he is infatuated with Joe because he thinks Joe is transitioning from a
He's
female to a male.
He has so much strength in him. I'm so proud of
So
him.
for the first
I,
three
I
quarters
just wrote a bit
for
about
the
this.
for the first 3/4 of the show, he's like, Joe is brave. He came in and he immediately said he was transitioning, blah blah blah. And then at the end, near the end, he's like, well, just like the strength you showed today when you told us all you were transitioning.
And he's like,
He's
wait,
like, wait a
what?
From the army. I'm transitioning from the army. But at the end, Joe goes up to Roth and goes, "Hey, man, I just want you to know something. I really respect how you accepted me. If I had been trans, you made me feel welcome here. And, you know, and I appreciate that." So,
But now the
Yeah.
guy knows that he's a straight white man. He's like, "Fuck you."
no,
you're
no,
the
no.
devil."
He's cool.
That was the initial
He's
reaction.
cool because he came to him and he said, "I appreciate who you are."
In all fairness, is it any different than you transitioning from being somebody else's bitch to somebody else's transitioning to be somebody else's bitch? Like,
I mean, Jazz, you would appreciate the joke that I wrote.
I would.
And I tried it. It's basically
mainly because I appreciate you.
the
But
premise is
now that
oh,
you're
a trans
transitioning to
man?
be a comic,
You know what's way cheaper than cutting your tits off? Buying a flannel. Just be a lesbian, dude. Way fucking easier.
Because
Like-
people expect military people to be this ultra right wing,
Right.
rigid, non-accepting dude.
and we're not at all.
I don't
And
think
we're
people.
not at all. We're probably more accepting than anybody on the
We're
planet
ultra center.
because we have
Yeah.
because
I-
in our unit,
yeah.
in our organization, we've had people from every different
Every-
walk
All
of
walks
life
of life.
It
in the
doesn't matter.
planet.
All of them. Yep.
Like whatever you think is going to surprise me, it's not.
It's not because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've interacted with those people, and it's not about.
I
what you're
kissed a
about.
Muslim guy one time, not by choice, not because I'm gay.
He was just saying hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened to me.
Wait a minute.
That's
So what about when you and I kissed?
and
Are you Muslim?
I mean, I can be for you.
He was just
There
saying
you
hi.
go.
So that's the message that Office Joe shows, that military people, we're just like everybody else.
Right.
We've just had this time in the military. We want to be accepted. We want to do a good job. We want to be successful in our work. And so that's what's so great about Office Joe is as the series progresses, you see that Joe is stop touching my balls.
Lean,
Use your microphone.
lean.
Sorry. Use my diaphragm. You find out that Joe is just like
Much better.
the civilian folks.
Sure.
He just wants to be accepted. He wants to do a good job. And that's what's so great about this, because it's easy to do a show that vets love. It's harder to do a show that vets and civilians can embrace.
Yeah.
And that's what Office Joe does.
I love
love
the
it.
idea that you guys are projecting the idea that the veteran community will 100%. It is a quality quantifier.
100%.
Are you good at what you do?
Yeah.
Are you solid in what you represent? I don't give a fuck past that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
I don't care what
if,
you look like. where you
if I
came from.
hired you
Don't care.
and you can do the fucking
Like-
job,
Right.
everything
I don't
else,
care.
every
Yeah.
other fucking identifier that
For-
you want to bring to it, I genuinely do not give a shit.
For example, when women first were introduced to like combat arms, right? I was like, I don't know. But then like I see some of these women who have Ranger tabs and all this, and I'm like, yeah, I would fight next to that bitch any day.
Yeah.
Did you see
Yeah.
that?
Like,
was-
holy fuck.
did
Like
you see that interview with?
it doesn't matter.
What was it? General Miller,
Millie.
Millet, right? The general that just retired.
Yeah, the guy that was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Fucking
And
dirtball.
he just did an interview that said the Army, the military as a whole, it's a go, no go. We are can you pass the qualifier?
Yeah.
If you show up to the standard and you can prove the fucking standard, that is how the entire military should always work.
100%.
Should
Don't
be in the
change
figurative
the
term.
standard.
Should.
Don't change the
Yes.
standard.
Now, I personally believe
But they did.
most of the veteran community would agree with that. Did they pass the standard?
Yeah.
Yes. And it's
Cool.
it literally
But when
turns
you
into
lower the standard, that's when the problem.
Like we, John and I,
sure, but that's not what the general was saying. The general was
Sure.
saying we are a standard based military.
Millie's
Yeah.
the piece of shit that lowered the standards.
So, but he did the whole, if you can pass the standard, we create a standard. If you pass the standard, then it's good to go. And the way he phrased it was the 762 that enters your body doesn't give a fuck
Yeah.
what other titles you put on it.
like John and I
It'll
were,
kill you all damn day.
Can confirm.
So if you can pass the standard to accept the 762,
Right.
John and I were in during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And there was some definitely, they didn't have to tell guys,
Yeah.
right? Like there were
first
some
off,
gay
don't
guys.
confuse me with my brother. I was Don't Ask, Don't Tell Army. He was
Well, I said John.
I was Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Yeah, we all were.
Well, yeah, all of us were. I
But-
was in when they
but,
killed it. I
like-
remember that day.
Like
That was fun.
we had gay
I
guys,
still didn't give a fuck.
and Nobody cared.
Nobody fucking.
Yeah.
Their uniform looked
Nobody
better.
fucking
Nobody-
cared.
And their rooms
Here.
are way cleaner.
Way
yeah,
clean.
dude. I don't care what hole
They
you
had the
got.
best looking beret
And
I've ever seen.
Does your trigger finger work? And can
But-
you carry me out of
Yeah.
a
You know,
burning
and I-
fucking building if
and-
it's on fire?
And I don't know.
That's
if
my
it's
only
because-
concern. Literally my only concern. If you tell me shit goes down, and regardless of whatever the fuck you want to identify as, can you pick John up and get him out of a fucking burning
that's it.
vehicle?
yeah,
Can you pick me up full kit, carry me 100 yards?
that's it.
I
If
don't
you
give a.
can't do it. I'm all set.
You know what? I don't
I'm
give
all
a fuck about the 100 yards. Can I get you out of the vehicle?
And it's not only can
Here's the
you,
deal.
but will you?
So
I am 5'7" and
I have-
160 pounds because I am mostly fat now.
I have firsthand experience.
I couldn't carry him out of the fucking vehicle. The chick that was delivering all of my UPS that would show up with the fucking 2,000 pounds of shit I ordered and brought
She
that
could.
shit in. And dude, every time she walked in, I
So
was standing before the captain's mast. I was
I-
like, God damn, girl. Like,
Your captain.
You and I are also fans of that diesel power.
Yeah. So I have firsthand experience of this, and we were in JRTC, and our battalion XO at the time, Lieutenant G, who is a fucking monster, and I'm pretty sure he's in Delta right now. I got tasked as a mass casualty person, and there was, I don't know, 15 of us.
so they were just mean.
And literally the ROs came over, they shot us all with the God gun, and they're like, get them out to the casualty collection point. And Lieutenant G was the first person that was standing there. And he looked around at everybody that he had, and he looked at all of us, and he looked at those, he goes, start grabbing bodies. And he walked straight to me. And this dude was your size.
Oh yeah.
You're the biggest dude.
By far, and carrying a 240.
Yeah.
And Lieutenant looks at me, Lieutenant G, he's like, hey, grab your gun. And I'm like, sir, I'm dead. I'm not supposed to move. He's like, just hold it. And I'm like, well, okay. And I just like put it on my stomach. He picked me up from laying on my back to a fireman's carry, ran me 200 yards to a CCP, dropped me, says, don't move. I'll be right back. And went and got other people. And I'm like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, see, that's the standard. Now, I'm not going to lie.
That's it. I don't care what size you are.
In a
if you
casual-
can do that with me
In a
as
true-
a machine gunner.
in a true
cool.
casualty environment, the adrenaline, if you had a drag handle,
That wasn't adrenaline. This dude was just a fucking
Right.
beast.
I'm just saying, I could probably get you out.
Yeah.
But if you're going to show me I don't give a fuck.
This guy.
Yeah, that motherfucker
Yeah.
right there.
Next to Chris Freeman. That guy.
Oh,
Yep.
I got to already tell you right. He's fucking Hardened Woodpecker lips.
Oh, that motherfucker. And
Yeah.
he was young.
No,
This is 25 years ago.
And look, even in my peak, maybe I could have done it. But if you're going to tell me you was a he, now a she, I don't give a fuck. If you can pick that motherfucker up and carry him out of the fucking combat zone when
Fucking
it fucking matter,
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's all propaganda. We don't give a fuck. That's
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah.
I don't
We don't
care.
give a
I
fuck.
don't care
literally-
what hole you like, man. It's none of my fucking business.
It's none of my business.
Like,
It's your
goddamn
business.
job.
You stay out of my business. Don't be a dick.
Do you run into that?
It's not only
Yeah,
we.
because firemen had to come into the aircraft and haul our asses out.
No, not in the Air Force, in the film industry.
But I'm just meaning the Air Force.
Holly,
I weighed 250, 260 when I was in the military.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, God, I'm not
some
carrying your
fucking-
ass. You're
No,
burning.
no.
That's how they got the ejection
I mean,
seats.
I'm not saying that she was fucking sweet when she carried me out. She wasn't gentle, but
No,
she
not at
fucking
all.
got me
They
and
they-
took me down the fucking stairs and got me away from the aircraft.
and it's
But
not.
so-
It's in the military.
but
it's not
How
only that
great
we.
was that boner?
It's not only that we don't get. It's not only that we don't. In the military, it's not only that we don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck who you fuck.
yeah.
No, we don't.
It's none.
I don't care.
There's zero.
Like, why is that even
But
a
so-
conversation?
so
and that is what I'm going to go back to the show for just a second. And that's what Office Joe shows, that we don't give a fuck.
Right.
All we care is that you do
Can you
your
do your
job.
job?
Yeah.
You do your job.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's such a great show, is because it shows this is who we really are.
Right.
It's not some bullshit thing where we're fucking, don't like women, don't like blacks, don't like
Yeah.
Mexicans, because we all know right here that's bullshit.
Yep.
We don't fucking care.
Yeah.
We're all brothers and sisters.
Hit the standard.
Now,
all I give a shit
in
about.
the,
Yes, sir.
working on the film side of things, is it more prevalent depending on who or what the person
It's
is
very
and how their work ethic is?
it's not
Just because
like
it's
right
not
now,
so
like
military.
Right now, okay. If I wanted to get a job directing,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 2 years ago when it was very prevalent. If I wanted to get a job directing,
You'd be fucked.
I probably had no chance.
Yeah.
because I'm white, I'm old,
Oh, because there's DEI stuff.
because of the DEI.
Okay.
I mean, and that's. But you know what? Who gives?
But
a
now
shit?
the pendulum's
I didn't
swinging.
take it
I will
personally,
say though,
but now the pendulum's coming back. But still, if you watch your TV shows, look at who the directors are.
Okay.
Because that is what that's what the attitude of the industry was. Because that's what the attitude of the industry was.
Okay.
But you know what? You can't be mad at them because they're not the ones setting that.
No, they're not.
Someone else is setting that.
Exactly.
I heard today what the acronym for DEI stands for.
Division is D. I know that.
Didn't earn it.
now,
I thought that was a good one.
Didn't earn it.
pre-COVID, so pre-pandemic, everybody had too much time to type on a keyboard. As somebody that operated, and you did too, and we were in the commercial industry, the film industry, and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like pre-COVID, it truly was one of the I don't give a fuck if you can do the job kind of industries?
I think it was even, I'm going to say 2016, 17. I'm going to say 2016, 17, it was like that. I'm going to say after 2018, it really changed.
It got really hard where it was to where you could really go like, look, I don't give a fuck how they vote, who they sleep with or whatever. This is the best fucking editor I've ever seen. I don't really give a shit.
But 2018 and on, I think it completely changed.
Well, because people started looking at the lift the veil, who's actually making this media that's entertaining you. And I think we lost a feeling of the escapism. I'm looking at this media because the world is bullshit. The reason I'm escaping to film or shows or whatever is that I want my my 27-minute or 23:45 break if I'm watching a TV show, or I want my hour-and-a-half break, my 3-hour break or whatever, because reality's shit. And I'm watching this for the escape. I don't want to deal with what the fuck the real world looks like. I want this 2-hour vacation where I can watch this thing that lets me let go of what reality is and be immersed in this piece. Whether it was biographical or pure fantasy, the Pirates films that you were on and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden we got into this whole like, yeah, but who was the third assistant editor on this film and how did they vote? And it's like, why the fuck do you care?
And if you didn't
Right.
have, and if you weren't telling a story, a message, if you weren't shoving a message after 2018, is what I think.
Yep.
If you weren't shoving a message of inclusion down people's throat, you didn't have a chance.
Well,
And
but it was about telling a good story. It wasn't
And then
shoehorning this
But then
bullshit
it
in.
stopped.
And
It
you know,
stopped when that became
right now,
the priority.
who I think the most successful person is in the industry is Taylor Sheridan. And there's no fucking bullshit messages there. Like I just watched the fucking Landman. Holy fucking good show.
Right.
But now it's
Jesus
You're right.
Christ.
But that's happening now. That's
But-
happening a year ago. There was a
Yeah.
time period when
The pendulum
Taylor-
was
Taylor-
shifting back.
if I wasn't giving you a message about inclusion, I didn't have a chance.
Taylor
Yeah.
Sheridan is post-COVID.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of.
And I'm not going to lie.
When
I
did you start
well,
Yellowstone?
Yellowstone had to be in the middle of COVID.
Post-COVID.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a totally different-
But I'm saying, why is he so successful? It's because there's no bullshit messaging.
We got a
Because
lot of
It's just
he's
good
so successful because
entertainment.
he
But
did
again,
Sons of Anarchy on
He's
Forces.
big
but-
enough. He's big
Well,
enough
yeah.
that he didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
and he was on Sons of Anarchy. So this guy literally got to be on the
No,
show.
he took the combination of things that worked and put
Yeah.
them together. And was
He
like,
took the
"Holy
concept
fuck, it
of the
really
show
works."
he was on and he went and did it and he made it work.
Yeah.
From only because I care about the industry, because this is literally what I got my degree in. I don't like how he's handling the people that are making his content work.
Well, because he's a little arrogant.
He's insanely
little-
arrogant.
When you
He's a
make
little
enough money to buy the
self-inflated.
4-6's ranch, you can do that.
The thing is, he didn't make that money. The people on his screen made that money
Yeah.
for him. Nobody gives a fuck what his production quality is.
All right,
But
I
People do give a shit
but
who his actors
now,
are,
if you
and
look-
he's just killing them off because they don't agree.
Look back at previous writers that have made millions by doing the same thing. Nobody judges them, but
I do.
you do because you know. But the general
Yes,
population doesn't
but like
know.
I said, because I care
didn't
about
look
the
into it.
All right.
industry,
So,
I care.
Jazz, I have a question.
Yep.
So I literally just watched Landman last night, right? I watched
Look,
2 episodes.
I haven't watched it yet. I've seen clips of it. I'm probably going to turn my subscription back on. This
It is-
company is literally going to make money off of me so I can see the show.
Anyway.
One, I love Billy Bob Thornton because
Yes.
it's fucking
It
brilliant,
is
but-
so good. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't even know it was a Taylor Sheridan thing till his name came up at the end of it, right? And I'm like, okay, how this guy's not writing all of this.
He's not. He's producing.
So he's just hiring the right people, right?
So the
Because-
producer is the keeper of the checkbook.
there's so many good shows that he does.
Right. And so he's the keeper of the check. So if you don't know what a producer does, the producer has no creative control.
Right.
If you were just a
The
producer,
project manager.
Right.
you're a project manager and you
And that makes
control
sense
the
to me.
checkbook. So when Hollywood is saying he pulled the show off for $120,000,
Yeah.
that's amazingly impressive. That means that what he's done is his key personnel. So your production designer, your director, your art director. So you have the key personnel. What Hollywood is able to do with his show is he was able to bring in guys that are going, I like the message you're doing. Even though I'm an above the line cost, I'll do it at a lower cost. So Hollywood was able to as the produce, because you said you're producing
Right.
the show, right? So what he's able to do is he's able to negotiate these things to where he can have incredible key people. So that's your art director, your director, a couple of other people's, your key editor, because they're going to have assistants and stuff like that are going,
Sure.
I like the show. This is something I can do. I'll do it way below. I'm assuming you're not
Yeah,
operating.
because it was all internal. It was all Diesel Jack Media employees.
Oh, okay. So
Well, you
they
acted
were
in
doing
it
it that.
too.
So you weren't
Yeah.
dealing with the guilds. You weren't dealing with
No,
any
we
of that
were
kind of stuff.
non-union.
Okay, so it's all a non-union job
We were
and North
ultra
Carolina.
low budget. So
Yeah.
we were non-union. We were ultra low budget. So it means our actors worked for X amount.
Right.
Because per episode we were under 20 grand an episode.
And then they're probably looking at point value. And
Yeah.
we won't get into the business of
Right.
film, but
But that's
But
what gave us the ability to do it. We hired all local talent. It was during the writer's strike. It was during so
right.
we didn't have to worry about that because nobody was working. We got special compensation from SAG to hire.
So you could hire guild actors that didn't need to hold guild rate and
Didn't
all
have
that
to
kind of
pay,
stuff.
Correct. We didn't have to pay guild rate.
But so when we're
That's
looking at
brilliant.
when we're looking at the producer aspect, this is somebody that understands the industry and was able to hire. So when you look at Taylor Sheridan as the producer on Landman, he's able to do it on the whole, hey, I have contracts or I have the negotiation power on these partners to be able to pull this location, to be able to pull these actors, to be able to do this kind of stuff. And I can get that done if you'll do it at this rate, because we know on the distribution value, the point that we'll pick up, you won't get it on the front end, but I can provide you 1.5 points on this, 2.5 points on that. They'll agree to do it because Sheridan behind it is knowing, hey, if I do it, I'm the Yellowstone guy.
That's right.
If you want to look at that much money, you sell it to me cheaper now.
I have a track record which shows
I
what
have
will
a track
do.
record and we'll be able to do it. So he can buy it cheaper up front and then do it.
Yeah.
Now, but when you look at his track record and how he handles that talent that the people are now making merch off of, and everybody goes, well, I love Beth from Yellowstone. It's like, sure, you do. Because she's a myopic character with absolutely zero depth that just does nothing but just an absolute cunt on camera.
Great tits though.
And you think it's great.
Great.
And it's great tits.
Great tits.
By the way, she's British. So,
Yeah,
Don't
that
care.
blew people's minds when they found that out.
but when you scare off somebody like Kevin Costner that's been in the industry longer than you've been alive, you're a shit producer.
No, it's because it's a complete ego thing. That's why Costner left, because Taylor Sheridan
Sheridan
like
is
the fact
cocky as fuck.
that Yellowstone now everyone is identifying with Costner.
And
he
it
didn't
wasn't
like
about
that,
him.
and it wasn't about him.
So,
And so-
I have a question, right? And so who wins?
At
No,
this
in the
point,
no. In the long run, right?
The people watching it.
No. Right. So essentially, it's an internal battle between Taylor Sheridan
Who
and
wins?
Kevin Costner.
Costner wins. Do you know
Does he?
why? Because the next project that Costner's willing to sign off of instantly becomes one of the most popular things in the world. Because
Every-
you
Everything that Taylor Sheridan has done is something that's for lack of better words, gone viral.
Sure. But the thing is right now,
What's the last thing?
Sheridan's going to capitalize on trend. So right now, he's in the perfect 10-year window of this trend where cowboys are cool.
Yeah.
When cowboys stop being cool, what the fuck is Sheridan going to do?
Well, bikers are cool, and then they went back to cowboys. Cowboys are cool before bikers. It's just
If Kevin Costner
you know-
hadn't been in Yellowstone,
No, he came back
would-
with Birdman,
It wouldn't have
which
been,
got him Marvel.
It wouldn't have been what it was.
It's true.
100% agree.
Costner
Okay.
made Yellowstone.
Now,
But-
there's half a season to finish the legacy of Yellowstone, for lack of better
Rip and
words.
Lloyd made Yellowstone.
And he walked away because him and the producer got in a fucking spat. To me, not knowing anything, I'm siding with the show. And
Yeah.
fuck that actor.
Yep.
Sure.
I agree.
And that's-
I agree.
and
100%. And
and
I don't
that
give
is-
a fuck. Kevin Costner could come out and be
Because-
like, Taylor Sheridan is the biggest
doesn't
piece of
matter.
shit in the world,
Right.
and he fucked my wife and he
But
killed my dog. Still,
is-
fuck that guy.
this is
you
what-
left before the show ended.
This
Yeah,
is what
I
comes
agree.
down to the escapism.
This is spoiler alerts, by the way.
By the way,
I haven't even watched the I haven't even watched the rest of
I'll
Yellowstone.
I have,
spoil the show
and it's
because
great.
I'll spoil it because Costner did it.
Redacted.
Well,
So
But how it happened, it doesn't matter. It's a simple fact
So,
that it was
in the
publicly
short run-
released.
in
that
the short
he
run-
chose to leave
And
the
he
show.
did.
Do you watch TV series?
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed how on the third season of most shows,
somebody
they're
was
not as
recasted.
good, they're not as good as the first two?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
because the
do you,
stories.
do you know why that
yeah,
is?
yeah. They
Because the writers are up for a new contract on the third season.
Oh.
They fire the writers so they don't have to pay them more,
bring in new
and they
guys.
bring new writers
Yeah, yeah.
in, and they're not as good as the guys that started it.
That makes sense because
That is bullshit.
I agree.
Breaking Bad is making so much sense right now.
Right.
Yep.
That's why when
Anything
you
you've
watch
ever
a show, you're
Sons
like,
of
oh,
Anarchy.
this is the
Yeah.
greatest show ever. And in the third or fourth season,
And it starts to die
they
down.
suck
Yep.
because they don't want to pay the writers what they deserve.
Right.
Yeah.
And they cut them
Yeah.
loose.
So they cut him loose, and
But I'm
what
talking
happened with
about
the
I'm
last
talking about
season
an
of fucking-
A-list actor.
sure.
So what
So
happened with the last season of
Now,
Game of Thrones?
But the only reason you can get rid of Costner now is because Costner has made the series.
Mhm.
That's true.
Yeah, it was already done. We don't, but what I'm saying though is literally there were, I think they did the last season of Yellowstone, I think is 12 episodes, and they released 6
With
and then all
Costner.
with Costner, then all the shit went down and they had 6 more to make. That was it.
Yep.
And they literally paused it for almost 2 years and then they brought it back to finish the series without Costner.
But we don't really know why Costner's not with the show.
Because him and Taylor Sheridan disagree.
why?
there's a couple of reasons.
but
so
It
okay,
doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No,
it
doesn't.
does matter.
As a
So here's the
viewer,
deal.
it doesn't
As a viewer, it does.
Well, no,
As a viewer, I
who's
don't
the-
care.
Yeah,
Who's the cat
As
that
a
played
viewer,
Rip?
I'm upset with Costner.
Yeah, that's it. Like you
Who's the
almost
cat that
finished.
played
It was
Rip?
7 seasons.
The ginger kid.
No,
from Good Will
Rip.
Hunting.
The
Yeah,
the one that wears all black.
He's ginger from Good Will
He's
Hunting.
not
He's a ginger. That broke girls' hearts when they found out he was
not
a
the
ginger.
guy that
Rip
goes.
is what the fuck's his real name?
Come on, John. You're Mr.
No,
Yellowstone.
so when Jazz was talking
Wait,
about the
he's got it.
escapism,
Hold on, stop.
Pull him up, Justin.
Cole Hauser.
Cole
Cole
Hauser.
Hauser. When
Pull up
Jazz
a
talks
picture
about
of Cole
escapism, I don't remember producers or actors or anybody's names.
Now
but you
that
know, but you know the producer of Yellowstone.
you know who Taylor
No,
Sheridan is.
I do.
Why do you
because,
know that?
Because we've talked multiple times about it.
Because
about
he
him.
made himself known.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like when people are like, "Oh, you know, such and such, he was in this movie," and I'm like, no idea.
So Cole Hauser,
I
who's
just-
the guy
it
that plays
doesn't
Rip. He's
relate
the guy
to
that
me.
wears all black. He's
Yeah.
the guy that
Yeah.
runs the ranch.
In my
It hasn't
opinion,
paid
he's the
taxes.
one that made the show for me.
He's the best. He's the best character in the show.
Yeah.
Well, that and the
But
guy
he's the
that goes
best
down to the
character-
4-6's
he's
ranch
the
to
best
learn how to be a
character because of
cowboy.
Beth.
And did it. I
Right.
love that.
Relation-
Well, they play
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he's
So-
the best character.
That's also why I like Lloyd, though. I like him and Lloyd's dynamic as well as
Right,
like
right.
the old hand.
No,
and that,
don't
all that,
lie.
like-
you just like a good mustache.
I liked
Fact.
Lloyd until he was
Yeah.
a Kamala guy. Fuck Lloyd.
So, but
That's
there's a lot
Just
that happened
bring
in there.
politics into
Yeah.
the right.
So-
now.
Kamala.
Cole
Lloyd's
Hauser.
a Kamala guy. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Scott, that's Sam Elliott.
Yeah,
Oh.
Sam
Not the guy
Elliott
that
that-
did Lloyd.
You're right. I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Sorry.
America's Cowboy.
We love
is a
you, Lloyd.
Kamala guy.
I love you, Lloyd.
Have some more diplomatic, Scott.
I will. I will.
So Cole Hauser started a coffee company.
Yeah, see, this is what pissed me off about the
So
system.
Cole Hauser started a coffee company, and he started that coffee company, and the logo for the coffee company looked like a cattle brand.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sure. Taylor Sheridan sued him.
Oh,
that makes sense as well.
and said that he was capitalizing off the fact that he was a Yellowstone actor to be
Yeah.
able to do this.
Now,
But-
hold on. Is it?
But that's bullshit.
Does he have a contract with stipulations that say
He
so?
does not.
Do we actually know that or not?
No,
Yeah,
he does
it
not.
all came out
Okay.
publicly.
So he
Okay.
was he
That's
was not
fine.
allowed.
I'm
He was not
ignorant to
allowed
this.
to leverage his character.
I didn't even know he started a coffee company.
He was not allowed to leverage his
That's how
character.
long it lasted.
Yeah,
But why?
he was not allowed to leverage his character and or any derivative content that would come from
Okay.
Yellowstone.
and that's kind of bullshit.
But
Now,
how rich does this?
So,
What's his name?
oh no,
Taylor
it
Sheridan.
gets better. Taylor Sheridan also leased the land and the cattle necessary for the show from his ranch to the show. So he was paying himself to run his own shit. So
Smart business.
I mean, that's
I'm not saying it's not good business.
But
But when you're gonna sue, you're
Yeah.
gonna sue your lead actor over a fucking coffee company side hustle when you're doing this exact same goddamn thing, you're a fucking shit show.
you're a dick.
Yeah, like that's just you being a dick.
But that's a question of ethics, right? Like, I mean, that's where ethics come in.
So I
there are
Like,
no
I mean-
ethics in the movie business.
I don't.
There's
disagree.
no ethics in the movie
hate to
business.
tell you
That's the
this.
reason there's a guild.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I am one film away from being able to be part of the Producers Guild, which the PCA is something I've always wanted to be in a member of.
Well, we remember the PCA.
That's
Not
a
that
different
PCA.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, PGA. I want to be a PGA member. I'm
I
one
can't
film
call
away.
it good.
No, me either.
I want to be a PGA member. I don't give a fuck if it ever makes me money. I just want to be able
We
to
have
put the PGA
IMDb
at
accounts,
the end of my
is what I
name.
do. We have IMDb pages.
So, but it really does come down to if you were going to use these people to make the billions
Mhm.
that you've made, let them fucking sell coffee. You piece of
I
shit.
agree with
Like
that.
what the fuck?
So now,
Like-
I agree with
I have no knowledge of any of this. Right? Does it change my opinion on Taylor Sheridan slightly?
We
Um,
we talked about this on the show one time, but I don't think you were on that episode
No,
because
but
Jazz and I bitched about this on the show before.
yeah,
Look,
no. This is the first I'm hearing about
Look,
it.
I am all about.
about a year ago.
But
so
my
the reason
my beef is with Kevin Costner.
The reason I wasn't liked at film school.
And he bummed a cigarette off me one time. What the fuck, Kevin?
The reason I wasn't liked at film school. So I was at film school and everybody went around because I went there and I was much older.
You were
and
also
they-
fresh out of the military.
And
you
I was
were
out of
Office
the
Joe.
military and all
You
that
were
kind of
Office Joe in a
Yeah.
sea of liberals.
And they all went like, I'm going to send a message. I'm going to hear my voice made or whatever. And they got to me and they were like, why do you want to make film? And I went, there's no show without the business. And I like the business. I want to do this for the profit.
Yeah.
Did not make me popular when you have a whole bunch of people that think they're going to go out there and share their art.
They're like,
And I was
but I
like-
want to be in Sundance.
And look, here's the deal.
Fuck
it is-
Sundance.
It is show business. With no business, there is no show.
There you go.
It's just nature of the beast. Love whatever the fucking film you want to, love whatever director you want to. If you think that any of those made though for the warm and fuzzy, you're a fucking idiot. Go check yourself because you're wrong. I am
That's
all
what
about
you see at Sundance, and that's why nobody.
I am
goes.
all about Taylor Sheridan going, this is how I make the most money. Sure. Absolutely. But a rising tide should lift all boats. You made this thing.
Yeah.
If your actors are
I
going to
agree.
go and fucking do a thing
I
and it's
agree
going to
with
let
that.
them make a couple of $100,000 because they sold some fucking
Yeah,
coffee,
yeah.
shut the fuck up, sit down, count your fucking cattle and make your next fucking show.
Yeah.
You don't need to
Yeah.
fucking sue these people because you're just a fucking douche.
Yeah.
All right? You're not a cowboy. You're not a biker.
Yeah.
And yet somehow bikers and cowboys have made you all your fucking money.
Yeah.
Sit the fuck down,
Yep.
count your money, and let some other people get
But-
a little bit of scratch.
but-
you
Ju-
don't
Justin.
need to be this fucking hardcore.
I'm getting really excited right now. He's very
He's touching
excited.
your
He's-
soul.
Yeah.
He's touching my soul right now.
But my
Ju-
beef
Justin,
is still with Kevin
Pull up all the
Costner
Taylor Sheridan
Right.
shows.
Why is your beef with Costner?
because he quit the show
Yeah.
But
6
you-
episodes before the
but you don't
7th.
know
But
why.
you-
I don't
You don't
care.
know
But
why.
you're
Don't
mad because
care.
it deleted your escapism.
It-
because you like
that's
the
it.
fucking show.
Because that is the reason I watch.
That is
I don't watch it for how
but
much
that
money
is- That
anybody
is
makes.
the greatest fucking reason to be upset about it. It's the greatest fucking reason.
You can't tell me I'm wrong.
It's the reason I hate the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Fuck that show.
They're shit because that producer director team that was putting the show together was
My
like,
bad. Fuck Game of Thrones.
we already have the next project. Fuck this. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Office
fuck
Joe
you.
is
You
available on
deleted my
Amazon
fantasy.
Prime.
It is. And they're
Google
not fucking
Drive.
anybody over.
I've invested
and
months
iTunes.
of my
And-
life on this show, man. And then you
Look-
fucked me right at the end.
As a fan, you being mad because it fucked up your escapism is absolutely the justified
It's
reason
valid.
for
That's it.
being fucking mad.
That's
Fuck
it.
yeah.
As somebody that loves the industry and wanted to be in it, I look at it and go, you fucked millions of fans because you were worried about a couple $100,000. I just told you Cole Hauser had a fucking coffee company and you were like,
Don't care.
he what? Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's cool,
It
but
made
like-
no fucking impact. You fucking douche.
I'd just like to say,
Take the hat off
I-
and count your money. You're a piece of shit. Nobody believes that you're a cowboy. Just count your money, make more shows, and shut the fuck up.
I'd
There's
just like to
plenty
say,
of producers.
Jazz is back,
I'd
everybody.
just like to say,
Jazz
as
is
the
back.
producer of Office Joe, I did not fire my lead actor halfway through the show and leave the last 3 episodes
And
without
that's why
Office
I watch
Joe.
it.
And you can go to Amazon Prime, Google Play,
Yep.
and iTunes to buy Office Joe.
Yes,
Hollywood,
please do.
Hollywood. There's still
Make a new
there's
email
still
and buy
time.
it
Yes.
fucking twice. There's still real just
Hey.
fucking artists out there.
Hollywood. There's still time to sue him for something. though.
Oh my God, he wasn't a veteran. Oh my
Well, that's it.
God.
Lawsuit, here we go.
Oh, stolen valor.
No, but seriously, if you listen to this show, go buy Office Joe.
Yes, go check it out.
Yeah.
Go support the
Amazon,
guys, man.
Google Play, and iTunes.
Yeah. Buy
Fucking
Office
A.
Joe.
You can get all 6 episodes for only freaking $19, more than you spend on alcohol in a day.
more than we've spent in the last 10.
Less than I
10
spend in
minutes.
alcohol.
That's way less. That's way less. Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
I've definitely drank more than that this today.
Yeah.
Also, check the description of wherever you're listening or watching. All the links to everything for Office Joe will be down below.
We got one.
Let's
more.
show one more clip of Office
Yeah,
Joe.
we
if
got
you
one
don't
more
mind.
clip.
Yeah, let's hit another
Features
clip.
an outstanding actor.
Can you fill it out?
Who's-
Is it the character Kevin?
It is the character Kevin,
Oh, I'm
who is
excited.
actually
Giving some advice.
Jebediah Scott.
That sounds made up as fuck.
That's a pseudonym.
And if you're a single male, listen to this advice.
Look at that good-looking
There's
motherfucker.
some solid knowledge being spread right here.
Look at that chest hair.
Well, I don't know if it's solid, but
It is
definitely being
100%.
spread.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah. Are you wearing the same watch?
Always.
No,
It's not the same one.
Oh no, that's the.
No, he's got a.
He does that always.
That's
Oh
the,
wait, I
that's
fucked
the
up.
Joe Everson Statue of Liberty watch.
That's
Attaboy.
a Rockwell, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
If you know who Joe Everson is, he paints and sings the national anthem
Yeah.
at sporting events.
Oh, he does, yeah.
and then
The
he
cool
turns
paintings.
it right
Yep.
side
Paints it
up.
upside down.
Upside
And
down.
it's amazing. Joe Everson.
That dude is.
Shout out to Joe, buddy. Love you.
He weaponized his autism. I love it.
I lusted after that watch for like 2 years, and it was given to somebody else. And out of nowhere, they walked up to me and said, "This watch is too big for me, Hollywood. I think it would be perfect for you."
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
he gave me that fucking watch.
Give me your watch, Hollywood. Give me your watch.
Okay, let's watch Hollywood give some solid advice right here. You gotta hit play.
Yeah.
Come here, my son. Ashley Marie just exhibited 2 of the 4 Mount Rushmores of attractions to you. Okay, explain. 1.
Look at
She
those
walks up to you and
biceps
says,
on Joe.
Hey, stranger. Now, many
It's the
variations
vascularity
exist.
that does it for me.
Rachel, a la Friends. Hey, you. Waitress. Hey, handsome. Charlie from Top Gun. Hey, stud.
Okay, that's good.
2, I bet you say that to all the girls. Now, this is an overt test. She's literally asking you to tell her that you don't, even if you do.
This is real wisdom.
3, you disappeared. This always happens at a bar or a party. She's literally telling you she wants you in her eye line at all times.
This is unbelievable.
4, stop it, and a light punch, usually to the shoulder. But this is really
That's a
important.
warfighter cigar to right there. If
Adorable
you
look on
guys
her
didn't
face.
Yes,
know
it
that.
is. Look at that.
And there's if you watch, there's an ashtray in there too.
Frown,
I
a real
noticed.
shover Bad.
Okay, bad. All right, so you're telling me if all 4 of those are in place, then it's go time.
No. I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, if 1 is in place, it is. All 4, the only thing stopping you is the Holy Ghost if you're Catholic, or love of dudes.
You literally just blew my mind right now. I know.
And then he sucked his dick.
Now, I'm not saying that actually works in real life, but
The fuck it doesn't. That's real, man. That's good advice, dude. That's totally good advice. We've all been there, man. That's a thing.
I guarantee you, as Mikey was watching it, he's like, "Oh, yeah."
Yep. I was
Here's
just
what's
checking
really-
blocks.
Here's what's really crazy. Dan and I, who plays Joe,
Yeah.
we were in DC at a nonprofit veterans event, and this woman actually walked up to me and said, "You disappeared," and it was all we could do not to bust out laughing. It was like, holy shit! It's the truth.
It's working.
It's real.
Well, Hollywood, brother, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come on the show, buddy. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Guys,
dude.
it was awesome being with you guys again.
It's
And,
good to see you, dude. It's
you
always
know,
a pleasure.
When it's time for season 2, you call me. I'll come.
No,
help you with
no.
production.
And that's the thing, if you have a veteran-owned business or if you are a veteran, if we get to do Office Joe season 2, we will definitely bring you on board. If you look at Office Joe season 1, we use tons of veterans.
Dude, I'm a
all-
mediocre actor.
All of the
Can confirm.
all of the companies like Salvation Coffee, Main Street Bond,
Yep.
those are all veteran-owned companies that we used as the marketing companies that came to Office Joe. They were looking for help. So
Oh, cool.
Oh no, I'm talking about I'm film trained. Like
No,
bring
no,
me.
no,
I'll
no, I'm
I'll
here.
production help you.
I can already tell. We'll definitely do that. And you can get Office Joe on Amazon, on Google Play, and on iTunes.
Well, there you go, everybody. There you go. You know what? So I'm going to do something that's been 6 months in the making. I'm going to raise my glass.
Oh, hold
boys.
on. Just like 6 months in the making, I'm gonna need. Oh no, I got some.
You got some.
I'm good.
And I'm going to say thanks for being my freedom friend. Jazz, welcome back.
Welcome back, Jazz from the dead. Lazarus, raising from the dead.
And just pass it around.
Like, share, subscribe, guys. Smash those buttons, do those things. Tell your mom.
Tell your friend.
Tell your fucking mom's friends. Them hoes need to know. Anyways, yeah, check out the links. All the links in there. Check out Office Joe. 3 little things, guys. They're pretty easy. Jazz,
Fucking smoke on.
your favorite.
Drink on.
God damn it, kids. Freedom to fuck on.
If you're
Later.
not smoking Warfighter, you're not smoking the right cigar.
You damn right.
You're a fucking terrorist.
Oh, fine.
I'm
You
so-
don't want to smoke Warfighter? I guess you hate America. That's
yeah,
cool.
you hate veterans? That's cool.
You hate veterans, puppies, all that? Fuck you.
I'm so glad you didn't say you ain't black.
Yeah, put the balls in his mouth. Bye, everybody.